Hey y'all, Q here from In the Grain Creations. Unless you've been living under a rock, it was pretty hard to miss 2020. Riots across the nation, a rough hurricane season, coronavirus ravaging the world, and not to mention the political unease of the nation. With all of that, I feel like we placed a high standard on 2021 being different. Well, I can contest that it is still a shit show. A couple of weeks ago, we had a small kitchen fire. Damage was minimal overall, and I got out of it with a small burn on my arm. There is a silver lining to this cloud though. That means we get to do a kitchen renovation. To kick this project off, I thought we'd shed our quarantine main. And with that done, let's start making some cabinets. All right, we have every single one of our panels and pieces cut. We have our pocket holes and shelf pins drilled. We have all of our dados cut in all of these pieces. And now we'll be moving on to assembling. The only thing that I have to say is that blue tape is your best friend because there are way too many pieces to keep track of. So let's put this stuff together. I know it may seem like we've been jumping around a little bit, but between the fact that my shop is so small, also I wanted to keep the kitchen functioning as long as possible, and I don't have all of the lumber. My supplier is out of the material for the cabinet faces, let alone the doors and drawers as well. So it's kind of been a juggling act. That being said though, we do have the kitchen prepped up for the most exciting part of this process, and that is the resin countertops. Earlier today, I installed the countertops and bondoed the edges where they meet the wall. That way we won't have any messes. And I am gonna actually pour in this back area without the sink cut out. I think what that's gonna do is, one, it's just gonna be a little bit easier to work with, and then when I do actually cut it out, it will have more of a continued or flowing pattern. So with that being said, let's make a mess. So we have our sink installed. The matting on the countertops turned out absolutely brilliant. It just leaves a low sheen to it, and it's not too plasticky or glossy, but they look so great now that the final color is on the lower cabinets. And yes, those look absolutely brilliant. So now, today, I'm prepping this corner. We're gonna get that cabinet, and that partition in, and then I'm gonna start on the floors directly after, because we get our appliances today and I need to rush to get the flooring in here, here, and here for the dishwasher, the fridge, and the stove. So let's get going. It has been a couple weeks since we finished our tile backsplash in the kitchen, and let me tell you, I am so pleased with how the colors and textures of the tile just complement the colors and textures of the resin countertops as well. Today we are back in the shop though, and we are working on our stiles and rails for the cabinet doors and drawers. In the past, I've really only used pocket screws to actually hold the stiles and rails together, so I thought I'd step out of my comfort zone and put my router table to use and use router bits instead. Why I'm excited for this is it's going to actually add a decorative chamfer along the inside of the profile, which will give it a more modern and professional look as well. So yesterday I went ahead and I did all of the end profiles of the rails, and that was actually a pretty fun process. I used a coping sled that actually held the wood tight to the fence as I moved it along the router bit, and not only that, but it also had a sacrificial piece of wood on the back side of it that helped with chip out. So today we're using our second router bit, which will add that decorative chamfer and also the profile for the rails to slide into, and then also for the plywood to slide into the stiles and rails as well. Like I said, I've never used these router bits before, and I didn't want to go out and purchase one of those crazy expensive feed rollers to make the process super easy, because I don't know how often I'm going to be doing this. However, I did purchase some Jessam feed rollers, and those will help with the process because they will hold everything tight to the table and tight to the fence as I move my material along it as well. After we get these all shaped up, I will size my panels down and we'll get to assembling our doors. All right, so that is it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed watching the process of this transformation. I know it's been a rough year for a lot of people across the world, but as we're coming through the other side of this, I hope that something beautiful is born from the ashes. As usual, I want to thank a few people that helped me along the way with this build. First off, I want to thank DIY Tyler. I used his videos to help with all of the cabinet carcasses and doors, from the type of material used to how it's put together and how he applied finish. If you're thinking about tackling a project this large, I would definitely recommend visiting his channel. Secondly, I used the channel That Looks About Right to help design all of these cabinets in Fusion 360. Taking on a project this large, you need to make sure that you have every piece cut and planned before you start. His videos on parametric design were imperative for this part of the process. Another thank you goes out to Mike from Stone Coat Countertops. If you're unsure that you can tackle a resin pour this large, Mike will break down step by step what you need to do to get the job done. They have hundreds of detailed videos that will help you feel confident enough to dive into the pours. A few years ago when I first started resin pouring, they were the only source that was reliable and thorough. A huge thanks goes out to my roommates Marcus, Kevin, and R, my partner Kelsey, for helping me out wherever they were able to. And lastly, thanks to all of y'all for sticking around to the end of this video. If you liked what you saw, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and if you didn't, guess we won't see you next time.